This certainly will look at this, but the main thing was nothing happened. The attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, from what I understand, took place during, and it wasn't classified information. So this was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael. He's a good person. The person that was on just happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know.
Okay, Trump just told multiple lies in a row, so let's rapid fire debunk them, starting with the last one. First of all, Jeffrey Goldberg is not a sleazebag. He's the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, and he's actually very trusted by people like Pete Hegseth. Also, this was classified intelligence. Even Tulsi Gabbard contradicted what Trump just said right there on TV, and we know this was the exact time, date, location, and targets of these strikes before they happened, meaning they are necessarily classified intelligence because nobody else knows except US politicians. It also pisses me off that Trump said, quote unquote, nothing happened, the strike was successful. He's trying to say that just because the strike was executed, that this security breach doesn't matter. But that's like saying just because I almost got hit by a car, I was inches away, that I can still stand in the middle of the road and I shouldn't really care. No, this was a massive, massive mistake, and we have to immediately fix it. Get out of the middle of the road. Stop allowing Pete Hegseth and the people around him to be handling classified intelligence whatsoever. Get them the hell out of there before this happens again. He's just not taking any accountability. Now, I want to show you Tulsi Gabbard getting grilled, but let's play this clip of Donald Trump in this meeting.
Do you think that Mike Waltz made a mistake, and does he need to apologize?
Okay, so he gets asked, do you think Waltz made a mistake? Does he need to apologize? I can almost guarantee you right now, Trump does not take any accountability.
Does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's
doing his best to add random people to group chats, maybe.
Equipment and technology that's not perfect.
Equipment and technology that's not perfect. This was not a failure from Signal. This was a human failure, human error on Mike Waltz's ends. He's the one that added Jeffrey Goldberg to the chat.
And probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
That's sir. I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
The vibe of this meeting seems a little bit weird. There's like a little bit of odd tension within the room. Not that anybody's angry, but there's a little bit of like, oh shit, we just messed up tension. Let's try to patch this up. Like, watch this clip of Mike Waltz kind of butting in, trying to stick up for himself.
Mr. President, you asked about lessons. I think there's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families. And this one in particular, I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor.
A favor? What are you talking about, man? I literally hate the way this administration spins everything. All right, you need to watch the moment that Tulsi Gabbard gets caught lying, brazenly lying on national TV to our congressmen and women about whether or not there was classified information in the Signal group chat. She contradicts herself literally minutes apart, and I have both clips to show you. First, I want you to watch this clip of Pete Hegseth literally almost killing someone on Fox and Friends. I'm not even exaggerating. He's axe throwing, and watch.
With the axe. Who's going to win this battle with the lumberjack? That's coming up next.
The axe literally went over.
I'm putting my money on Clayton.
Ooh, and the axe hit a drummer. All jokes aside, this is incredibly dangerous. Look at, the axe hits a drummer that could have seriously injured, maimed, or killed this drummer. And honestly, the The security failure right there, you could call it, is a perfect microcosm of how this administration has been operating on a day-to-day basis. No care, no guardrails. They could have literally used guardrails right there. Just randomly throwing shit around, not caring what it hits, who it hits. That's the entire administration. And you can even see with this clip of Caitlin Collins showing Republicans talking about national security matters. Take a look at this.
If it was anyone other than Hillary Clinton, they would be in jail right now.
Nobody is above the law, not even Hillary Clinton, even though she thinks she is.
Mishandling classified information is still a violation of the Espionage Act.
Yeah, it is. Remember, this was a few years ago.
Have the Clinton emails on top of the fact that the sitting president of the United States admitted he had documents in his garage. They didn't prosecute. They didn't go after these folks.
Hillary Clinton responded tonight with this: "You have got to be kidding me."
That's kind of funny. It's a funny response from Hillary, but you see the game being played from Republicans here. They've spent the past decade blowing up national security into the #1 issue with Hillary Clinton, which national security is a very big issue, but with Hillary Clinton, it's a non-story. They blew up nothing into something. They made a mountain out of a molehill, and now that there is actually a huge national security concern, a huge breach in our operational security, Republicans basically have a blindfold on, and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize national security was important. Like, check out Senator John Ossoff of Georgia, just absolutely shredding today.
Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you hold on. A national political reporter...
You can characterize it how you want.
...was made privy
the White
to
House
sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization.
Mistake of adding a reporter...
And that wasn't a huge mistake? That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterize it as
an embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content.
Absolutely insane interaction right there where John Ratcliffe, who is in the group chat, by the way, refuses to admit fault, refuses to admit it's even a huge concern, refuses to admit anything, and gets very combative with Senator John Ossoff, which you're not supposed to do. Sometimes it does get combative in these hearings, but in this very moment, when the gravity of the situation is this heavy, you can't get combative rather than just saying, hey, yeah, we really, really effed up. That's the one thing that really annoys me with Trump. Well, no, a lot of things really annoy me with the Trump administration, but what really truly annoys me about anything Trump touches is that the people around him are taught to deflect, attack. Remember how Trump and everybody around him during the COVID pandemic refused to accept any responsibility, and they downplayed and deceived. And then during the election, Trump and most of the people around him deceived everybody. I mean, during times of crisis, they are terrible. Remember when that plane crash happened in DC about a month and a half ago? Trump came on stage and blamed it on DEI, and then JD Vance and everybody else followed suit. Crises bring out the worst in this administration, and when I said that's the quote-unquote one thing that bothers me, what I really mean is this uniquely annoys me, how we can't get any sort of accountability whatsoever. We just get lies. For example, I'm going to play 2 clips back to back, and what I want you to notice here, a lot of people were confused by these clips. So what I want you to notice is that in this first clip, Tulsi Gabbard makes the claim under oath that there was no classified information in this signal text chain, period. There was no classified information is what she claims, which we know that's false because they were sharing the exact date, the exact times of the strikes, the exact targets and locations and strike patterns, all uniquely classified stuff that could not get into enemy hands. But here's Tulsi Gabbard in the first clip claiming that there was nothing classified.
Hey, we should be doing this in a skiff.
There was no classified material that was shared in that.
So then if there's no classified material, share it with the committee. You can't have it both ways. These are important jobs. This is our national security. Bobbing and weaving and trying to, filibuster your answer. So please answer the question. If this was a Director Gabbard, if this was a rank and file intelligence officer who did this kind of careless behavior, what would you do with them?
Senator, I'll reiterate that there was no classified material that was shared in that.
And if there's no classified materials shared, and then if there's no...
She reiterates this about 10 times, maybe even more during the hearing, saying there was no classified information, no classified information. Now, watch what happens in this clip. Tom Cotton sticks up for Tulsi Gabbard in a way and tries to clarify, hey, there was no classified information relating to national security, but there may have been other classified information. Just watch what happens. It's a twist. They immediately spin it.
We've got more members to close.
They testified, is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's no intelligence community classified information. Is that correct?
That's
Director
correct.
Ratcliffe, is that correct? Director Gabbard?
Yes, Chairman.
Well, again...
That's not correct. She said repeatedly there's nothing classified. Period.
Right. Period.
Nothing classified, period. Watch. You know what I find kind of brilliant is that Senator Warner on the left right here kind of traps Tulsi Gabbard. Also, he's drinking a Diet Coke on the bottom left. I love me some Diet Coke. But after Tom Cotton asks this question to Tulsi Gabbard, Senator Warner waits for a second because he wants Tulsi to lie under oath. Just watch. He hears the question, then he waits for Tulsi to lie, then he calls it out.
That there's no intelligence community classified information. Is that correct?
That's
Director
correct.
Ratcliffe, is that correct? Director Gabbard?
Yes, Chairman.
Well, again...
That's not correct. She said repeatedly there's nothing classified. Period.
Right. Period. You can't have it both. And again, we'll see. I cannot believe this is not going to come out. And if it's not classified, again, we'd ask you to give it to the public today. I'm sure one of your aides back there have probably got it on paper. If you got it here, it's not classified, stand by your position. Or is this just one more example of a careless approach to how we keep our secrets in this administration?
Boom. And then I love the ultimatum the Democrats are giving them. That's kind of how you play ball. And I want Democrats to actually come down on this ultimatum and enforce it. Warner was saying, hey, if there was nothing classified in this group chat, release all of the texts. If you don't release all of the texts, there's a heavy implication that there is something within this chain that is classified, incredibly classified, as Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, is claiming, and they refuse to even engage with the ultimatum. But I want Democrats to really come down, go subpoena, go get a hold of what happened in this group chat, and I want to figure out what kind of classified intelligence was shared, because then we can see if Tulsi Gabbard was lying under oath. It really seems like she does, because Senator Warner trapped her at the beginning of this, and she gets caught in her own lie. I will continue to update this as it goes. I mean, this is one of the largest breaches of national security that we've seen in a while. I never want to hear about the emails ever again. I never want to hear about that one photo that Biden posted about a year ago of IDF soldiers. Do you guys remember that? Biden posted IDF soldiers and one of their faces wasn't blurred, and Republicans acted like he basically just destroyed the US empire. Now Donald Trump and the people around him are carelessly throwing around national security intelligence right before a very precise strike, and Republicans don't care. They have blinders on. So we'll see what happens. Drop a like, subscribe. I love all of you. A lot of people are saying, hey, Adam, I thought I was subscribed, but I never actually scrolled down and clicked the button. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.